That's gonna be good.
It is gonna be good.
So I hope, good luck there.
Yeah, we're gonna hire some new sheriffs, some deputies.
Good.
Yeah, thanks, Tina.
Where are they all, Gene? All the tough guys that are coming this week. Well, it's got cold out.
Fiberglass, they put fiberglass in that stuff to cut your lips. They put fiberglass in that stuff to cut your lips so you use more. They do.
Okay. It being 7:05, I'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. And the first order of business is to approve the minutes. We have two sets of minutes, one from last Wednesday, January 13th, and one from last Friday, January 15th. And entertain a motion to approve both.
I'll make a motion to approve both.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we have a request here. The Ashwillet Rail Trail is looking, the committee is looking to apply for some grants, and they would like permission to use Jack Munn, the town's grant writer, to help them apply for those grants. I have no problem with that.
I was wondering, I mean, what are we, how much money are we talking, Ben? I didn't know.
It really depends on the grant. Some of them, the administration fees are included in the grant, so it wouldn't cost anything. But the ones that don't have those fees included, we don't pay them a ton of money anyway. I don't remember.
I believe we've, in the past, the other grant that we did for the steeple was $25 an hour for is Jack's rate.
Right. Right. So I mean, we could be looking at a couple $100s, but if we get the grant and helps them out with thousands, then I see that it's
To
worth
give a little
it.
perspective, I'm working with Jack right now on a fire, FEMA's fire assistant grant for Scott Airfax.
Yep.
And that's due, which is one of my notes in the folder, that's due February, I think it's 12th. So Barry, I, and Jack are working on getting that together. And his fee to write that grant was $500. And it really does depend, because like FEMA and any kind of federal grant, there's a lot of data that needs to be collected and entered, so it does vary between grants.
I didn't know if we were talking $500 or $25,000, you know.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about Jack's fee, or are you talking about the amount of money that they want to apply for?
No, his fee.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah, no, it's not, I mean, bigger grants like that fire grant, $500 for that is what it's costing us, but,
okay.
I have no problem letting the rail trail committee use them to help with the grant. The board all okay with that?
Yep.
All right. I don't think we need a motion. We'll just allow them to use Jack for that. Next, we have the annual post-closure report on the landfill for DES that we need to sign and get into them. This is just on the monitoring and everything from the old capped landfill, and just the reports on that are due to DES every year.
Make a motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. There's just room for one signature, so I'll sign that after. Next, we have the permit for State Line Fireworks, their permit to operate. I'll entertain a motion to approve this.
Make a motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we have a request for a rebate, tax rebate, on property, and it's map 6, lot 6-2 at 42 Jones Road. It just sold, and the old mortgage holder paid the taxes on it, and then during the sale, as part of closing costs, the new mortgage holder paid taxes too, so we have to reimburse one of them the money they paid.
So
$1,848.
Second.
Okay, that was Jack made the motion and Channy seconded.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Non-motion carries. Channy, is your microphone on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's this thing here.
Next, we have a request for payment out of the Bridge Reconstruction Fund to the Treasurer of the State of New Hampshire in the amount of $15,258.62.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Just for the public's knowledge, this is the final cost associated with the DOT's project on the covered bridge in Ashwaubenon. And this was done back in August 6th of 2015. Next is a request for payment out of the ambulance billing fund to Deluzio Ambulance Services for $5,550.24.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, next we have, let me just double check my list. Carrie already updated us on the grant work for the fire department. Okay, so next we received one email from a concerned citizen. I'll read, it's a fairly short email, so I'll read the entire thing. Winchester Select Board, I'm very upset with the decision to take away public comments. I'm also upset with Ben for talking about the Keene flag issue, which was false information and had nothing to do with Winchester. I also believe no public comment should be for everyone, including the Select Board. Also, when the public voices their concerns, it's very unprofessional for members of the board to be yelling back at the citizens. I strongly feel that Ben, Jack, and James should publicly apologize at the next Select Board meeting. Signed, Concerned Winchester citizen Paul Landry. I do apologize for getting fake information about the, or false information about the Keene flag issue. So because that was false information, I will definitely apologize for mentioning that Keene was attempting to do that. However, I do still feel strongly that residents of Winchester should fly a flag and show their patriotic, or do their patriotic duty. As far as publicly apologizing for yelling back at the citizens, I can only think of a few times that I've personally, well, maybe more than a few, but a few times I've raised my voice during a meeting, and unfortunately that's the human nature in me. When we're all guilty of sometimes when other people raise their voice, you raise your voice back, and sometimes that's hard to control. I've been trying to do better with it. I don't know if anybody else from the board has anything they'd like to address with this email.
Well, I'd like to say that I try not to raise my voice any higher than the person speaking to me. And if he wants to come in and apologize to me for calling me an idiot, maybe I'll consider apologizing.
Ben, I think you nailed it when you said it's basically when someone tries to talk over you when you're speaking, it's just human nature to automatically raise your voice because you're basically being rudely interrupted while you have the floor. So it does get loud sometimes. But that being said, and as far as the public comment, I'm not sure what he means about the selectmen shouldn't have any comment. I mean, we have to talk. And I guess I wish he would just define that a little better. But the I think you clearly stated that the reason why you were, or the board had decided to do away with public comment was just to try to shorten the meetings up. Was that correct?
Yeah, the same reason we did away with public comment earlier at the beginning of the COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
The intentions were, which is the intentions that in the guidelines that were put forward, were to shorten up. One way to shorten up meetings to cut down on how long of a time period multiple people would be gathered in one room. They passed a guideline that made it legal to take away public comment during the meeting and offer an alternative way of handling public comment, such as emailing, to be able to shorten the meeting up and make people feel safer by not having to sit in a room together for hours, which we all know sometimes did happen.
You know, I'm not gonna speak for the board, but I don't think there's a member here that was happy to make that decision as far as the public comment. We all welcome the public comment. Even, you know, there's two sides of every story, so even with a disagreement, you still welcome it. And hopefully we can get back to it soon.
Yep. So that's everything that's in the folder. The one thing that we need to address, because as we're all sitting in this room this week, is because we found out that we could not legally do a meeting the way we are hoping to be able to do it, because there's no way in a live stream or a live feed for public to be able to call in by phone that may not have internet access or a computer that they can use to watch the meeting. And by law, any virtual meetings have to be accessible through the internet and/or telephone. So just live streaming them through Facebook wasn't going to work. So
Yeah.
we need to.
I was just gonna say, Carrie worked all day on it, and, you know, she found that out.
Yeah.
After a lot of effort.
Yeah. No, I talked to Carrie
She talked to the state.
after work yesterday, and I mean, she was willing to stay late last night to try and figure something out for us to be able to use for tonight, but it was already going on almost 4:30, and she had already racked her brains out all day, and I told her not to worry about it for this week, to just post it as a regular regular meeting. And I tried to get it out on Facebook so people would know, and I know Natalie had a post on Facebook letting people know, so the word got out. But we gotta do something else.
I think that perhaps we should entertain Zoom. I know Carrie was mentioning Microsoft Teams. I don't think Teams actually has, and I have things that at work, I don't think Teams this microphone's not working. Teams has an option for people to call in, but Zoom does.
They do.
Yeah,
It does.
Team does, but Carrie mentioned that yesterday because that's what our phone lines run through, is Microsoft Team already. But last night when I got home, I did a little bit of research on it. I didn't really care for the whole way Team's set up. I mean, I don't know if it's just because I've been using Zoom, so I'm comfortable with Zoom now, but I definitely like Zoom a lot better than Team.
Why can't we continue, just like we're allowing the public to come in, and then, like, they can email Carrie any questions, because then we can answer them right there.
Well, the goal was to get it so that the public didn't have to come out.
Well, I understand. Well, we have 4 people here tonight. Oh, 5, I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah, no, I know, but I know the newest report from the AG's office. It's obviously not a mandate that people cannot gather, but it's very extremely highly recommended that they don't gather. And that's what my goal was by trying to do the live feed, to make it easier for everybody to be able to watch and participate through email, but not have to physically be present. And I mean, even if we did a Zoom thing, we could, even through Zoom, we can all still be here in the same room. We could still do it pretty much basically the same way we discussed last week. The 5 of us and Carrie could still be here, set up through Zoom, and people would be able to call in. And I mean, the only thing we'd have to do, and I was actually thinking that Gloria would be a good person for it, would be we'd have to have somebody that was controlling monitoring questions and on Zoom and letting people in, making sure everything was muted the way it's supposed to be, all that stuff. I know the school, I think Mary does. Val does that for the school.
What equipment do we have to, I could certainly do that, that's not a problem, but what equipment do we have that I could use while I'm out here?
I have a laptop.
Yeah, Carrie has a laptop and we have an iPad, I think it is, that we have.
It's not an iPad, it's
A tablet of some sort. I have my own personal iPad I could bring if we needed to, but
I don't know if you don't want to use your own personal equipment.
But,
If you want help.
I think we should set up our own Zoom account and do it that way.
Yeah, and I mentioned buying the upgrade. My personal account was $149 for the year to get additional time. Doesn't give you a lot of recording space, but it does give you additional time. You're not limited to the free version, it's only an hour. And you know, we're gonna probably be more than an hour.
Right. Right. And I mean, we can still live feed the Zoom meeting on the Facebook, and then we would have a recording that way. Nothing by law says we have to record any of the meetings. So
It's just an option that Zoom gives you.
to have the recording available for somebody else to view later, they could view the live feed on Facebook. Why are you shaking your head now?
Because it has to, if you have, do you want me to come help you guys real quick? Yeah, let me come just help you a little bit.
I could have swore that, like any meetings that are Zoomed and live feed, the Zoom is live feeded on the Facebook, that you can re-watch it again later.
Yes, you can, but the recording on Facebook does not satisfy that part of the RSA.
Well, nothing has to be recorded. That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, because for the governor's virtual live stream platform that he set forth, it has to be recorded, because that goes into your minutes.
Okay, that I didn't read. I honestly didn't look for that, so I'm
Well, I suggest that we go one more week, just like we are right now, and get some more information on it, because it sounds like there's still some questions that need to be answered.
well, that question is just merely recording or not, and that's something Zoom offers, right? Well, it's literally pushing another button.
Right, but at that point, you probably have to buy another package tire or two for the storage
Right.
space.
Right. Carrie, did you happen to look at any prices?
No,
No. So,
not today. I'm trying to get caught up from 2 days ago.
right. Lindsay, you don't know how much the school pays for theirs, do you?
Absolutely no idea.
No, I didn't. I knew it was a long shot.
I mean, if I had to take a solid stab at it, I would say it's gotta be somewhere maybe $1,200-$1,500 for the total all in.
Do you think by any chance it was free because you're a school?
It was not free.
Okay.
We definitely did have to pay, for some of the enhanced features and, security features.
Yep.
So that we could ensure that nobody could Zoom on us. But I don't know off the top of my head what all of the
Yeah.
all the access.
All right. So I guess at this point, my recommendation is going to be that next week's meeting, we post it to do it the same way we are right now. And have Carrie get us information, the prices, the information on the recording and whatnot, and whatever other research needs to be done on that for next week, and then we can make a motion to do whatever we gotta do and spend whatever we decide to spend on it.
Can I just say,
Yeah,
if we're not gonna do it, please don't waste my time.
We gotta do it. I mean,
I'm going to make a motion to do it, so
Okay. I'm just saying.
I just want to know the price and whatnot before I make a motion, because I don't want to have to
I will
make
give
a,
you the prices.
a second motion next week to revisit it because we missed something. And
So I just looked it up for you, the most it could be, it can't be more than, without the security features, just for up to 500 participants. It's $240, but with all the security features, it's probably gonna run you about $600.
Did you say 600?
A year, you mean?
For the whole year,
Yeah.
yeah,
and the license.
600 a year, possibly.
Possibly.
Well, at
Could
the
be
most.
less, could be less.
yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get all the figures together for next week's meeting. So
Check the storage options and different things, because there may be different tiers on the amount of storage in a.
So we have to, my understanding is we, not only we have to record it live, but it has to be stored? Is that what you're saying, Gloria? We
Well,
have to keep it?
that's where we're gonna look into the RSA and find out exactly what it says. But that's what it sounds like, is we have to, if we're anything that's being done virtually has to be recorded and stored.
Now, there's two different storage options too. There's video and then there's audio.
Right. Well, I'd find out what the RSA requires,
Yeah, exactly.
and whatever the RSA requires, that's what we'd have to,
Audio takes up a lot less space, but that's all you have is audio.
right.
The video, and then there's two different storage options. There's storage to the cloud and then there's storage on a laptop device.
I'd probably rather
I
just,
wouldn't think we'd need the video. I mean, the audio is what we'd want to save.
I believe that's probably all that's gonna be required by law is audio.
Yeah.
And we're already, the town's already set up working in the cloud now, so I'd assume that the cloud storage would probably be best, which that's gonna be another phone call for you, Carrie, is to our IT people. And, I know they have more than likely dealt with this with plenty of other people, so they probably have a very quick answer on it, but. So, for next week, we'll have all our ducks in a row.
Yep.
All right, well, it's up to the rest of the board, but because, we've already asked a couple questions from the public, do we want to ask them if they got anything else for tonight? I know we didn't post the meeting having public comment, but there's only 4 people here, so.
You know what? I wish they could talk every night.
Do we want to open for 15 minutes for public comment? I mean, we managed to get through the whole meeting in 26 minutes.
I have a couple other things, but it's quick stuff, I think.
Okay.
Update from the WEDC on the Stone Mountain Business Park. We were supposed to get one periodically. We haven't heard anything from them.
Yeah, we get them, what, monthly or quarterly?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, we get updates from them. The last update we got from them was when they did the, not open house, but grand opening or whatever you want to call it.
I
But,
can ask Mark to send in an update.
yep.
And the other thing, I know we've mentioned this a couple times about the attorney. Carrie looked, we don't have a contract with Upton and Hatfield, so I was gonna make a motion that after deliberative, we switch to the law offices of Sheldon, Davis, Wells, and Hawkinsmith, and use Jeremy Hawkinsmith for our attorney. That's my motion, I mean.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay.
Now, we used Jeremy in the past, and I guess the positive thing is he's right in Keene. Correct?
Yeah, Keene or Marlboro, it's a 876 number, but I don't, actually, I think
their office is in Keene.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of having someone a little bit local. I know we've talked about this, Ben, a couple years ago, wasn't it? Trying to get someone a little bit local, so.
What would the cost difference be? What about their billing rates?
yeah, I didn't look into that.
I'm sure they're all probably, although actually he's probably a little bit cheaper because he's not in
Manchester.
Manchester, Concord area.
I'd like to know the rates.
All right.
What's that?
She wants to know the rates.
So you
So
wanna,
we'll have to look into that then.
I'd be for it if they're cheaper for sure.
wanna withdraw your motion for now and table it until next week?
Yes, I'll withdraw that.
I'll withdraw my second.
And while we're still discussing it, I would like to, I have no issues with using somebody that's a little bit more local, but I'd also still like to have the option of using Upton and Hatfield also, if we feel necessary. I don't want to limit it to just one. I don't want a motion that limits us to just using one attorney. I mean, I know,
I think, Ben, that's how we started using Jeremy Hawkinsmith, because we were using both firms, so I don't see why. I think James, and don't want to speak for him, but what I understand is that the majority of the town business would be done there, and then if his office is overwhelmed, and I think that's how we got started using Jeremy to begin with, because Bart's office was overwhelmed a couple times. So, I mean, I don't think it was an exclusive, was it?
No, I didn't, I hadn't
Right.
thought about that, but
yeah, I just want to make sure that the motion keeps options available to still also use Upton and Hatfield for things as necessary.
Plus, they're more familiar with a lot of the stuff that we're doing already.
Right, some of the stuff they're familiar with, and
Yeah, I don't know, gee, I don't know how many years, we've been using Jeremy part-time probably for the last 10, 12 years.
We have,
so, yeah, we'll table that till next week then.
now, do you want me to reach out to these attorneys to get the
Well,
fee schedule, or?
we know what Bart's are.
Yeah,
offices,
right.
so,
Yeah, we already know what Upton and Hatfield's rates are.
yeah, if you want to reach out to,
I'll call Jeremy, yeah. That's all I have.
was that it?
All on your list?
No, I have something that, I wanted it to be placed in the record. It doesn't matter, we can't do it last week. One is because we already accepted it, but two is because there was an issue with the minutes, we couldn't add to it, but, as we're all aware, last week, the board decided not to renew the contract of, police chief. And by law, by state RSA, we cannot talk about any of the details that went into that decision. But I wanted the record to show, because it was a misunderstanding from the town's attorney that, and I'm not speaking for the board, but I think everyone feels the same, that I wanted the record to show that. At least I wanted that announced last week to the public. We should have gotten it out, but it was just a misunderstanding. So, I don't know how the rest of the board feels on it, but I thought that we should have announced it.
Yeah, I thought we should have, but again, it was,
Right, it was just a misunderstanding, and
Yeah, I thought it was kind of odd that the legal opinion didn't match the way we all felt, but
yeah.
I, for one, definitely do not like going against what the attorney tells me to do.
Yeah, well, I had spoke to him earlier in the week, and I think he just didn't put it clearly enough out to you when you spoke to him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, mine was through email, so,
Oh,
and sometimes reading all that legal
yeah,
mumbo jumbo that they put in there
yeah.
gets confusing. Anything else from the board?
almost, oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
We need to do something with the Monadnock disposal. had somebody reach out again, the same person reached out and has several times about, you know, nobody's looking for dump stickers out there. He saw a car from Connecticut there Tuesday, yesterday, sent me a picture of it. Now again, I assume it's somebody that owns property on Forest Lake. I assume they're maybe not a full-time resident, but they own property here. I don't think they're driving up from Connecticut to get rid of their rubbish, but no dump sticker.
Right.
So, and I've never, I buy a dump sticker. I've never once put it on my vehicle. I keep it in the console, and I've never been asked for one either. So they're not checking. I think we need to get, you know, MDS in here and
Yep. Yeah.
and
no,
the same gentleman wants to know about the additional cardboard. You know, they did away with the glass dumpster.
Yep.
He was wondering if we could replace that because he happens to go on a Saturday near the end of the day, which is the cardboard's overfull. I get it. He was wondering if we could get an additional cardboard dumpster in place of that.
I know
glass.
Monadnock Disposal was supposed to be looking into that once for us, because there was a big concern with the
Well,
cardboard
soccer
dumpster
season's
always
over
filling.
now, so maybe he's got time.
So, Carrie, can you reach out to Monadnock and have them schedule a time for them to meet with us? And luckily for them, if next week we end up deciding to go Zoom, they don't have to drive down here for the meeting. That'll make it a lot more convenient for them.
I also, at some point, I think we should talk about an increase on dump stickers. But discussion, I mean,
Right. I'd have to look. I don't remember. Was that done through Warren article, the dump stickers?
been $20 as long as I can remember, and
I don't remember, Ben. I don't know if that was, it was a warrant article to start charging, but the increase, I'm not sure if that's just a public hearing.
Right. Yeah, that'd be my the biggest concern is I'd have to find out if
There's
that
a-
was done
I mean-
as a warrant article or not.
something else I don't think I brought up before, but so one of my friends was up in Swansea there at a restaurant on a Saturday. A guy from town that has a rubbish route was in there, and they got talking, they're acquaintances, and in the conversation, he said he had backed up to the rubbish, barrels at this place and threw them in his truck and told the guy that he's got a rubbish route, and he was bringing them, to the Winchester transfer station. So he's doing a rubbish a rubbish route on a $20 annual. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we can come up with a commercial.
We had a discussion with them about that last time they were in, and told them we didn't like it and it needed to stop. And they did stop it for a short period of time, because they even stopped because the complaint was that people that have a business of trash removal were doing exactly that, paying $20 a year and being able to get rid of all the trash they wanted.
Yeah.
So they stopped every business from putting their trash out there.
Yeah, there's supposed to be yes.
Right. So like even like over at the distillery when I worked there still, for instance, every Saturday I would take our trash to the dump and they stopped accepting it.
Yeah, but, and again,
Because
they
it was
don't
a
know
business.
every, I don't expect them
Yeah.
to know every
Right.
business that comes
But
in
they
there with.
on their own just started slowly letting businesses start dumping trash again, and then
Yeah.
went back to letting people with trash routes dump their trash. And that's definitely a conversation we need to have with them though.
Well, and another thing, this was probably 3 years ago now. I went in there on a Saturday. I had 4 tires. Had never brought tires to the dump before, and so I dragged them to the back of my truck. I said, "How much?" He said, "Oh, they just went up from $2.50 to $5." He says, "I'll tell you what. Take them home and put them in a big black contractor's rubbish bag, and bring them back and throw them in a compactor." Well, they shouldn't be saying that stuff. I pulled them out and gave them the $20 and, you know, that,
Right.
so now we're paying tonnage on 4 tires and we also lost $20 revenue
Well,
where, you know,
we didn't lose the revenue, Monadnock Not Disposal did.
well, the
But-
tonnage is based, the previous year, next year's tonnage will be based on this year, right? That
Right.
rate, so I mean,
Right, yeah, no, the tonnage part's definitely an
Yeah.
issue. Yeah, we'll have a good list of questions for them when.
and I understand, they're never gonna, they can't police all that stuff, but something's gotta change.
Oh, they can police it better than they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
They might not be able to, I mean, they're not gonna fix everything overnight, but they should be able to make it better than what it is.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, if the board has no objections, I'd like to allow 15 minutes of public comment,
That's fine.
so I'll open, did you have something, Gloria? Sorry. Okay, I can barely hear you guys on your microphone, so.
fine.
Can you just double check that's on? Yep.
Yes. Lindsay Pickard, 96 Richmond Road. I just actually wanted to say start by responding to one comment that was brought up in an email, and that had to do with the debate that sometimes happens. And so I just wanted to say about that, this is public comment, not public debate. And so as difficult as it is sometimes as a board member to listen to criticism, that's your job. And so when you respond in any way, whether it be civil or trying to have a conversation, it completely impacts the intent, which is my chance as a citizen to speak, just as you have the chance behind that table to speak. I wanted to thank the board, Jack specifically, for commenting about a potential misstep that happened last week with not informing the public about dismissing or not renewing our police chief's contract before it was out in the rumor waves. I've stood up here a number of times and I've discussed transparency in the board, and so hopefully what you heard from the public was you're really not being that transparent on a regular basis, and we need you to. I am no stranger to non-public, the information that can and cannot be shared, what constitutes sealing your minutes, and the personnel records and integrity of our employees as a school board member and as a prior board member on other boards. But there are other ways to show the public the steps that you might be taking to improve an employee, if that's it, or the steps you might be taking to stop a contract. There are ways to have conversation to ensure we know what's next in your plan, and we don't think that there are literally 2 police officers policing Winchester for a weekend because we have no idea. Thank you for listening, and I hope that as you move forward with your Zoom meetings, that you'll see that there are a lot of people participating. While this board and some members have rejected the term global pandemic, it's happening out there and people are worried about it. When I checked before I stood up here, there were 47 people watching from home. Those people could be sitting with more than one person at their house. This is important for the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie Cavedo, 112 Ashwila Street. I just want to start off by thanking the board. Having been on boards and committees before, I know that it's hard to be in your position. I definitely know that. You do get a lot of criticism, but this board does do a lot of good things, so I just want to say thank you. Thank you for considering virtual meetings, and thank you for continuing to come here week after week after week, sometimes getting yelled at, sometimes not getting yelled at, but you're still being an elected official doing your job, so thank you. With that being said, I want to offer you my help with these Zoom meetings. I've done it before. I could set it up again. I'm well familiar with the RSAs. Currently, I don't know if you guys know or not, it came out in October that there was an emergency order so that you could actually bring the deliberative meetings virtually. They do not have to be in person. It's actually a 3-step process. You need the town moderator to declare that emergency order, so that way people are safe. So you guys having Zoom and getting that now is actually going to help keep the public safer in the future when we're all gathering together in a giant room with or without masks, with no ventilation, but that's beside the point. The other thing I just want to mention is that you said that you want to shorten the meetings because you were concerned for people's safety. So we lessened public comment to 15 minutes, and then we took it away for safety. So I would just ask that if and when the board does decide to go virtual, that public comment is allowed back in. I know personally for myself that I cannot send an email every week. I mean, we're all busy, we have jobs, we're all active in other things. I value my public comment. I value being able to come up here and stand here now after listening to what you just said, to be able to express myself. So I would hope that you would put public comment back in when they're virtual, because now you have taken away the need for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the public? Okay. It was 12 minutes instead of 15, but nothing else from the board. All right, I will entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32, little A, B, C, and E.
So moved.
Roll call, Jack Marsh.
Aye.
James Ropes.
Aye.
Herb Stevens.
Aye.
Gloria Lustek. Ben Kalansky, aye. We are now in non-public.